Thanks for joining this live stream, 8th of May. We'll be going through a market update and outlook for the rest of the week, as well as some chart analysis on altcoins. If you guys have any chart requests, just throw them into the live stream trading chat and we'll work through it. So firstly, starting with an update on Bitcoin. Yesterday we sort of had or 2 days ago, we kind of had like a scam pump upwards, which stripped out previous highs and rejected from this daily fair value gap. So following this rejection, I'm seeing sort of stronger retracement down to this daily order block level at 60,751. On the longer term basis, I do believe the market has bottomed out. So I previously uploaded a video on how to identify that. It's on the YouTube channel, so you guys can check it out as well. But pretty much the main point is price previously traded aggressively into a higher time frame key level, which is the weekly and monthly fair value gap below 59,000. And this was an aggressive move which flipped sentiment to more bearish. And then following that, we saw pretty strong buyback away from this fair value gap and key level, which affirmed this as a sort of range deviation, and that is bullish. We also have an SMT divergence, which is where two correlated assets diverge in their highs or lows, as in one asset makes a lower low and another asset makes a higher low. Two correlated assets. So for crypto, that would be Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we compare the lows on BTC and ETH. You can see that ETH actually made a higher low on the 1st of May compared to Bitcoin, which made a lower low on the 1st of May. So that is an SMT divergence and reflects the intention of market makers to move the market towards the upside. Alright, and as I said before, following that rejection from the daily fair value gap, we're probably going to see a move towards the daily order block at 60750. Okay, so the play here is to be patient for that level to be tapped. And on the lower time frames, the momentum is for now strongly to the downside. So short-term trades would also be short positions until the order block level is tapped, in my opinion. Let's look at a few other key charts. Bitcoin dominance. So in previous streams, I talked about how the bias on the dominance chart is bearish, as in the dominance index is expected to go downwards, which is good for altcoins. It means that Bitcoin makes up a lower portion of the total crypto market, and altcoins can outperform Bitcoin. So an update on that is it did move down, but for now it's sort of consolidating at previous resistance. So this reflects probably that we won't see any significant altcoin movement until the key level is tapped on Bitcoin, 60,750. Similarly on ETH BTC, I've previously talked about how it's like easy to try to call a reversal on this chart, but in the end, what usually happens is it round trips and goes back down. Right, so my outlook for Ethereum compared to Bitcoin remains the same. I probably can still go lower on the higher time frames. So in this sort of perspective, we can expect that Ethereum won't noticeably outperform Bitcoin over the longer term, but given dominance is expected to go down, other altcoins will probably be a lot stronger. Okay, so let's move on to some altcoin analysis. Hopefully the outlook on Bitcoin was clear enough. Alright, just to reiterate, the current trend is definitely downwards. That's due to the tap of the daily fair value gap right here 2 days ago, which also swept out all of these highs, right? So what that movement did is it stopped out a lot of short positions, before initiating the move to the downside. And the key level next is 60,750, which is the daily order block. Alright, so for INJ, previously it was trading in a range between 27.6 to 45. And following the big move to the downside, we can see that range has been lost, and the previous range lows has flipped into resistance. So what we can see happening here is a new range being formed between around 30 down to all the way to 20. Alright, so what I expect on this chart is basically just for the current range to be where the price is trapped within. And unless we see this sort of significant movement where it reclaims back into the previous range, we can expect INJ to be relatively weak in this market. Right, so sort of to illustrate what I mean. Right, so just trading between the current range, jumping around. Moving on to another large cap, AVAX. So yeah, previous stream last week talked about how it was actually performing quite strongly compared to other alts, drew this arrow up to the local range, and indeed the price is still trapped within this local range. So pretty similar sort of plan of action to INJ, right? Just keep it simple, right, for now. Range lows here, range highs. And actually a trick you can kind of do with these trading ranges is using the volume profile tool to determine long and short opportunities. Right, so the tool is on the 5th button. You click on the fixed range volume profile, and you drag it from the beginning of the range to the current price. Right, so after that, you can see it creates these volume bars on the left. Right, that indicates how much volume at each price has been traded. The key things to note here will be the value area high and the value area low, the two dotted lines here. Right, so pretty much you want to look for longs beneath the value area low, and you want to look for shorts above the value area high. That's how you trade ranges using the volume profile tool. Notice the red line here, that is the point of control, which is the price point where there has been the most volume traded. And that is often acting as support and resistance. And it sort of logically makes sense, right? That's because a lot of orders lie within the point of control, and that's why we can expect it to be sort of support and resistance. So for now, you can see that the price is cut through this point of control. So for now, since it's in the middle, we can sort of expect maybe a bit of a retracement first before a movement down to the value area low, which is the next long opportunity. All right, hopefully that kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's a pretty decent objective way to simplify a trading range and to form a bias and sort of like what setup to look for. Okay, so longs below value area low and shorts above value area high. Price is currently in the middle, so that is a no trading zone in accordance with the range trading strategy. So let's apply the same sort of analysis to other large caps and see what that gives us. Right, so same logic on Solana. A lot of these altcoins previously had a range. So Solana had a range from 162 to 200 roundabouts, and then following the breakdown, it lost the previous range, and the previous range lows turned into resistance. Right, you can see price rejecting from the previous range lows. So what happens now is the price forms a new trading range, which is pretty much from this low here, 113, to this high here around 160. So you use the volume profile tool from the beginning of the range to the current price, and it draws out the value area high, value area low, and the point of control. Okay, so you can see the point of control on Solana actually aligns very well with the daily order block at 137.88. So that is my area of interest for long positions. So maybe something like this. Okay, and on the daily chart, this is the daily order block. It's an order block because it is a red down close candle before an energetic move to the upside. That is the first criteria of finding an order block. And then the second criteria is the order block is more valid if it taps into a liquidity zone and sweeps out the liquidity. And you can see here, this red down close candle swept out these previous lows right here. Okay, so it affirms it as a valid level, and we expect that if price retraces to this daily order block, we can anticipate a strong buyback and pretty much a bounce from that level. Alright, so I'll have this level set as an alert. If it gets tapped, I'll see if I can enter into a long position. Yeah, so the POC, point of control, is at least red on my perspective, Cosmic. Might be some color blindness here. Just real quick, I'll also discuss just identifying trading opportunities in this sort of market we're in right now. Right, so on Friday last week, I called out this trade on Hi-Fi, and even though it's Friday, even though it's like pretty much holding a trade through the weekend, in the crypto market, we actually get a lot of expansive moves during the weekend. So yeah, definitely Fridays and weekends can be a good time to trade as long as a proper setup is presented. And pretty much what you want to look for in a trading setup is relative strength. Relative strength is quite important. Basically, the altcoin outperforming other coins in the market. And on Friday, right, we can see that Hi-Fi was creating some pretty large green candles, right, after sweeping out a key low here, sweeping out sell side liquidity. And then it reclaimed above the previous low, right, which is a good sign of strength. It also was ignoring bearish fair value gaps, and that indicated bullish order flow. Right, so that's something to take note of when looking for trading setups. It's helpful to look for relative strength, to long something only when it's on the way up instead of trying to knife catch. Right, so pretty much I'm just saying you want to see a reaction from a key level. We want to see like price moving up and showing some strength before we actually look to enter longs. That is for when price is moving down, when the market is sort of bearish. Let's move on to some shitcoins. So Pepe was one I was looking at as a sort of outperformer compared to other shitcoins. Like, coins in the same sector tend to move together. So coins like Pepe, Sheeb, Floki, Dog with Hat, even Dogecoin, they all at least have some sort of closer correlation amongst each other. So the reason why I think Pepe is quite strong right here is because it was previously trading in the sort of range between these two lines, and you can see following the massive dump in the market, it was one of the coins that saw the strongest buyback, so strong that it broke above all of these previous highs, and actually seem to indicate that it's doing a range breakout. Alright, so for range breakout setups, how you can sort of frame them, you can use the volume profile tool again to sort of help you out. But pretty much a range breakout can be defined as price breaking above the value area high and being able to sustain above it. So you can see it's not sustaining above it, but if it can bounce from any of the nearby support zones towards the value area high again, that's definitely a sign of strength. Alright, so Pepe in short is on my watch list for now. Looking at Riff, so it was actually also one of the top performers, but currently you can see it's encountering heavy resistance at the daily breaker block. Right, this is a previous bullish order block that got broken through and got flipped into resistance. So in a simple way, it's basically support flipped into resistance, and price is encountering resistance here and unable to break through. Right, so following that, my expectation is it moves all the way down to the range lows, sweeps out this sell side liquidity here, and hopefully sees very strong buyback that is able to push it above these highs here and finally break above this key resistance zone. Right, so I have this level marked out and set an alert here to see if we can get an actionable trade based on that. Shape is kind of boring, not too much to see for now. So it's still kind of stuck in its current range here. It's near the range lows, so we can maybe find some longs soon, but it's not as strong as the other coins, so it's not at the top of my list right now. Dogecoin looks very similar to Solana in terms of daily resistance being quite strong and still holding strongly. So in this case here, it's probably just stuck in a new trading range. So we can look for longs near the range lows, about 0.123. I'll move on to some coins that has moved quite a lot today and recently. So among those, TRB, Front, and yeah, a few others like ENA. So let's just have a look. Okay, so TRB is heavily manipulated because much of the supply is controlled by a single entity, so they're able to move price quite rapidly compared to other coins. So when it's in its sort of scam phase like this, you don't really want to be shorting it because it can just keep pushing up. So don't think that it's pumped so much it has to dump, right? This sort of thinking doesn't really apply to TRB. It's a sort of coin that really just keeps pumping until all of the shorts are liquidated and out of money, and then it starts dumping. So trying to short it is kind of like a fruitless endeavor. If we look at the previous sort of scam pumps on it, right, we can sort of use it as a projection. So you can see how it's kind of similar to this period here, where the price was moving sideways for a while, and then suddenly it just started pumping non-stop. So a pretty similar thing here, but just on a larger scale. So what we can do is we can sort of use a bars pattern and kind of project it onto the current price action. Right, and based on that, you can see that the upside potential is definitely very high, but also looking at past history, you can see there's actually periods where price drops quite a lot, quite quickly. So this red candle is down 20%. This red candle is down 35%. So definitely with TRB, it's a good idea to reduce the leverage on it. And also just note that this movement all the way to 555 actually did happen, but price retraced the entire move within the same day. So price action definitely can go very crazy here. Let's move on to the lower time frames a bit, see if there's a trading opportunity for us. So yeah, we can possibly look for longs near the golden pocket retracement. So around 124, 121, we can give it a shot. Right, you can see here, retrace and then pump back up. And then you can see when price goes sideways for a period of time, how the price is making higher lows. Price is still making higher lows here. That's kind of like vertical accumulation. Right? Similar sort of concept to a bull flag, where price consolidates for a period of time after an expansive move. Just to consolidate a bit, take a small break before the next expansive move. So most likely the pump isn't quite finished yet, just based on probabilities. So we can look to catch the next movement up around 121, 125. So yeah, we'll see. We want to see at least a little bit of buyback from that level. The next coin is Front. And by the way, if you guys have any chart requests as well, feel free to drop it in the live stream trading chat. Happy to look at any coins you guys are trading right now. Sure, I'll look at Bonk and MKR first. Yep, sure. OEM and Burn is on the list now as well. So Bonk is definitely one of the stronger shitcoins in my opinion. You can see it reflected in how the buyback was very strong. It reclaimed the previous lows here, and it even successfully retested the previous lows. It's sort of forming a bit of a trading range here, and it looks like longs are quite favorable actually at its current price. So we have the 4-hour fair value gap. Yep. We have the range highs here, equal highs, which serves as the buy side liquidity target. We have the reclaimed range lows here as the invalidation point. So yeah, we can actually try a long position on Bonk here. I'll probably set the stop loss below this 4-hour order block at 0.0215 and chuck the take profit at the range highs. Pretty straightforward stuff. We also have H4 200 EMA support here. So yeah, let's give it a shot. And it's not listed on this exchange. That's unfortunate. Yep, it's not listed. Okay. I'll send through the alert later. But yeah, it looks good for a long, in my opinion. MKR. Let's have a look. So we have the trend line support here. I do expect it to give some sort of reaction, but notice how price is constantly rejecting from the H4 200 EMA. So that is a sign of a downtrend and price failing to show strength. So personally, it's not something I would look too long right now, but a potential setup could be a sweep of this low here, top of the trend line, and a bounce. So that's something you can try if you want. It's not something I would personally trade. OM from first glance looks like it's very much stuck in a range and just chopping sideways. So a good way to go about that is to use the volume profile to identify the value area high and low. And you can see the value area high is acting as resistance, and the value area low zone is acting as support. So if you want to trade this, wait for price to go back down to the value area low. We have an order block here, so see if there is a reaction at this order block. If it gives some reaction, then you can try out a long position towards the range highs. So the order block is at 0.652. This is for OM. Let's look at BOEM next. So as I said before about trading ranges, right? A lot of altcoins lost their previous trading range, and this is one such example here on BOEM. Alright, notice the previous range lows here at 0.012 is now flipped into resistance. Right, price has failed to close above and reclaim this level, so this is a bearish sign, and it's a sign that it's now trading in a new trading range. And with this new trading range, we can now draw the volume profile tool to help us identify entries. So we anchor it from the beginning of the new range to the end of the new range. So from what I can see, the point of control is a bit lower. So yeah, let's keep it simple and anticipate just a sort of range play for this. Something like this. Let's have a look at Casper, crowd favorite here in our server. So from first glance, it looks like there's very little volatility on this. So not many trading opportunities, I think. Right, usually with short-term trades on futures, we want to catch expansive moves. Right, we don't want to be stuck in the trade for too long, where it just goes sideways and does nothing, because that increases the risk of the trade. It incurs funding fees, and if Bitcoin decides to make a volatile move, right, it can destroy the trade setup. But previously I had this sort of range drawn out on Casper here, and you can see that price is just consolidating below the previous range lows. So what I kind of expect to happen eventually is for the price to make a push to reclaim this zone, kind of like what happened here. So overall it's leaning bullish, but the volatility is very low on this coin, so not something I would look to trade too much. Is there any other chart requests? Feel free to drop them in the live stream trading chat. So far we've looked through the large caps, the shitcoins. We'll go from sector to sector, I guess. First we'll look at Portal. I haven't heard of this coin before, so it's probably a low cap. So yeah, with these sort of super low cap coins, right, it's just really just a protracted downtrend. That's quite obvious to tell. The thing with these sort of downtrends is usually at some point there is a sort of like spike upwards that liquidates the short positions, short squeeze, before it continues down. Right, something like this here. So that's just something to be careful of when you're trading these sort of coins. So it's better to short these coins when it spikes up and starts moving down, rather than when it's just going down non-stop, if that makes sense. Let's have a look at Rune. So you can see that the H4 200 EMA, the grey line, has previously acted as resistance for quite a while after it was previously support. So that is a support resistance flip, and you can see that price is currently testing from it, and so far it has rejected. Okay, so we can see a bit of a retracement first, perhaps for the short term, but definitely Rune is actually looking quite strong compared to other coins, right? Compare it to Solana and AVAX, you can see like those coins have been moving down whilst Rune has been pushing up. So that's a good sign, that's favorable towards longs. We also have actually EMA compression and crossover down here. So definitely it's on my watch list for long positions. And if we're feeling a bit risky, we can actually try out for a sort of breakout play here. I have this break of structure right here. So it's kind of in its breakout phase right now, and if it can break above the H4 EMA 200, I can definitely shoot right up. So let's give it a shot. Alright, so the stop loss will be below this, the low of the breakout candle. This is the 4-hour fair value gap, which you can rely on as support for now. And we can set the take profit at the first target at the previous highs here for now. See how we go with that. So stop loss 5.406. Let's give it a shot. And it's also not listed. Okay, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so Trafal, if you want to try a breakout position, this is the sort of setup I would go with for now. Alright, just remember, like, breakouts have a high chance of rejecting as well. So obviously don't put your entire portfolio into it, but it's definitely showing relative strength, and that's something I look for in long positions. And in fact, you can see right now Bitcoin is moving downwards on this open, whilst Rune is attempting a breakout. So that's another good sign as well. Yeah, let me know if that doesn't make sense or if you have any questions. Look at Velo next. Sub 60k on Bitcoin. In my opinion, I think the daily order block level is very strong support. So the order block actually goes below 60k, so it's possible. But for price to be bullish, I'll prefer it to see a reaction from the tap of the top of the order block at 60.7751. So it's definitely possible to go below 60k, but I would prefer it not to go below for bullish setups. Okay, so Velo, as I'd say, it does look very strong on higher time frames. And the key high is here at 0.231. It's a current trading range resistance level. And you can see that price is consolidating right below this resistance level. And that's usually a bullish sign. Right, you can notice the difference here. Right? Tap of the key level and strong rejection compared to tap of the key level and bouncing quite soon after and consolidating below. Okay, so yeah, breakout does seem fairly likely soon here on Velo. But I personally don't really trade breakout setups, but yeah, my projection is breakout soon. Yep, I look at ENA as well. It's definitely been moving quite a bit lately. So ENA actually looks fairly decent here. So we have the previous low here reclaimed quite nicely and successfully retested here at 0.861. We also have EMA starting to cross over on the 4-hour chart. So what this means is a move towards the range highs around 1.08 and above. But on the lower time frames, you can see it's making a red candle right now. Right, so the lower time frame momentum is towards the downside, so that's a reason for not entering just yet. Right? I prefer entering when price is showing some strength and upside momentum. Yep, I did look at Pepe a bit earlier, but just to recap real quick, right? Sort of seeing if this is a range breakout scenario, if it can hold this area here, then it can definitely go for much higher prices. Right, it's one of the stronger shitcoins, so you do have your sights set on the right coins here. No, so I haven't gone through the AI sector yet, David. I'll go through that now. So let's take a look. So from what I can recall, RNDR was looking quite strong lately. Yep, so broke through the H4 200 EMA. That's the first bullish sign. We have the compression and crossover as well. We have a breakthrough reclaim with the previous lows and initial rejection of the range lows from March, so 10.46. So for now, it's in retracement, and this retracement can probably go all the way back down to the previous range lows just to reconfirm so break out the reclaim before it can attempt for higher prices. And I think that aligns well with the EMA support as well. But you can definitely see right now on the low time frames, the downside momentum is quite strong. So it's a fairly deep retrace, I think. And yeah, so other AI coins will probably follow suit, do something similar, but since they're in the same sector. And FET indeed does look quite similar in terms of rejecting the previous range lows from March at 2.44. In this case here, you can kind of also see it has formed a new trading range. So range low here to the range highs here. So we can draw the rolling profile to assist us. And we have the point of control down here. So perhaps it can be a fairly deep retrace down to the point of control before moving back up to the range highs. So it seems that AI sector recently has been quite strong, but for the immediate short term, the retracement is not finished yet. Yep, so Ocean, same thing. Right, probably back down to the range lows and then back to the range highs. And we can see that the EMA support hasn't held for Ocean. So that's a bit of a shame in terms of the short-term upside potential. So, yep, seems likely that goes back to this H4 fair value gap at 0.877. I think I haven't looked at TIA yet as well, so I'll give that a look as well. And yeah, sure, I'll check out WLD as well. So with TIA, I can keep it pretty simple here and see it's in a pretty protracted downtrend, but it is near the support level and the sort of crucial low here at 9.00. So we generally expect these sort of high time frame key levels to hold. So the bottom should be near for TIA. But also note this descending trend line here, so it suggests that the bounces off the support level get weaker and weaker, so the upside potential may be very limited on this coin. So we'll see where we are next week and if it's still holding this support level. Right, it'll be very bearish if price goes below 9.0 and closes below. In that case, it's just downside continuation. Yeah, so Solana I looked at just before. So my projection is quite straightforward. Just a bounce off the daily order block at 137.88 and actually aligns well with the point of control of the current trading range. Okay, so good find on WLD. It does look fairly strong compared to other coins right now. So it's appearing definitely to be showing bullish order flow, bullish market structure, making higher highs and higher lows. Also broke through the H4 200 EMA. And we have the convergence of the H4 EMAs as well, crossover and compression. So we can actually give it a shot here. Just checking to see if this aligns with a high time frame resistance level. Yeah, so the counter argument for a WLD long is you can see the sort of swing failure pattern of this high here. Price attempted to break above the swing high at 6.22, but failed to close above and created a wick. That is usually a bearish sign. However, after that, price actually did tap and fill the daily fair value gap just below. Right, so it can do something like this here, tap the fair value gap, and next leg up. So in terms of setup at the current market price, we can probably attempt something probably something like this. Right, we want this 4-hour fair value gap to hold. We want this 200 EMA to hold as support. And in terms of the upside targets, we can just target the previous high here and see how we go from there. So stop loss about 5.53. And the take profit is 6.53. Okay, so yeah, that's now open, and let's see how we go with that. The stop loss is below the liquidation price, so we need to reduce the leverage on this. Actually, I'll just change it to plus margin, so that should remove the liquidation price. And the risk is $20. Right, so how you calculate position sizes is based on how much you lose if the stop loss hits. So if the 5.53 stop loss hits, the position loss is $20. Right, and that's within the risk parameters for this account. Then I'll just change the stop loss to my short position to break even. Okay, cool. So yeah, we went through quite a few coins today. If you want a recap of any of those, the stream will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can check it out. And yeah, if there's no other coins you guys want me to check, I'm ready to wrap up the stream. In terms of future streams, I will probably do them midweek during the New York session, and Moist Shinobi will stream the early week sessions on Asia session. Right, so that is around just a bit before market open, and I'll probably stream on Wednesday, something like that. Alright, sure. So a quick look at Bitcoin before we end the stream. So yeah, it definitely looks tempting to sort of attempt a long position when you see these sort of long wicks on these candles, right? But definitely be careful with those, because what often happens is just another red candle shows up and it eats up the entire wick. So the outlook is still the same for me personally. Just watching this key level here at 60,750, the daily order block, and I'll look to definitely enter long positions if that level gives a nice reaction. Okay, cool. So I'll end the stream here. Thank you all for listening in. Safe trading, and I'll see you guys next week.